Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to discuss the types of data structures. So let us look at the types. Generally, we have a primitive data type and then we have a non-primitive data type. And again in non-primitive, we have linear and non-linear. In linear, again we have static and dynamic, and then we have non-linear. So let us look at the difference here. When we talk about the primitive data types are in Java, generally they are predefined in nature. Okay, they are predefined in nature and they are built into the language itself, while the non-primitive data types are created by the programmer except string. Okay, string is an exception, like which is present inbuilt. But if you look here, integer, float, character, string, boolean, all of them are already, you can say, they are built in the Java language. Or if you look at some other languages also, these are the fundamentals or fundamental data types which are already built in the system. Okay, now in integer you can store numbers with decimal like without decimal points, and here like you can you can store in float, you can store with decimal points. Then you have characters. In character you can store a single character. In string you can have a text, and then we have boolean, generally the logical values which are true or false. Okay, like here again the important concept here is that these are all built in, and based on these we create the non-primitive data type. So the graph something looks like this. So generally this is the hierarchy. We have these data structures. In these data structures we have two types. Okay, first is the primitive and second is non-primitive. Now in primitive we have as we have mentioned, let's say we have the integer, or we can write here int, then we have the float, then you can have character, then string is there, although string again is a primitive data type, and then we can have boolean. Okay, in non-primitive data type it is again further divided into two. First is linear and second is non-linear. Okay, so as the name suggests, linear versus non-linear, this here the data is stored linearly or in a ordered fashion. And here again we have two different types. We have static and then we have dynamic in nature. Okay, one is static and another is dynamic in nature. And in static we have array. Okay, here we have array, and in dynamic we can have linked list. Okay, we have linked list, or we can have stack, or we can have queue. So these are the few examples of dynamic. Similarly, coming to non-linear, in non-linear we have tree and graph. Okay, these are generally the non-linear, non-primitive data type. Okay, so this is how the classification looks like. We will get to learn a lot as we keep on progressing, but this is how the basic structure or you can say hierarchy looks like, or different types of data structures look like. So let us come back and let us see the actual difference between these two. So if you look here in the definition, the primitive data types, they are the basic data types that represent simple values, and these are the complex data types that can store collection of values or objects. They are simple in nature, atomic, individual values, whereas they are complex and they are made up of multiple elements or objects. They have a fixed size and they are directly stored in the memory, that is the stack memory. And here like there's a variable size and they're usually stored in the heap memory. Okay, except arrays. Then you talk about data representation, directly represents data, and here it represents a group of data. Mutability, again it is an important factor. They cannot be changed once they are defined, wherever they are defined. And similarly the non-primitive can be changed or modified and updated. The size is generally fixed from 1 byte for char to 4 bytes for int, whereas here the size depends on the number of elements or the complexity of the objects. And these are the examples that we have just seen, and here are the examples of our non-primitive data types. So in a nutshell, if you want to say the difference comes out like in Java primitive, they are predefined and they are built in, whereas these are not predefined and they are created by the programmer with the help of primitive data types. Thank you.